these things help them. They progress forward, they learn from it, they develop their game, they grow. It's all very important.
Just look at the body language, and I wonder, we'll read the post-game comments later, how the U.S. will feel about this, because I would think this is one that they know they had, and that they, even though it's against a team like Brazil, they let it get away.
A heartbreaking loss for Bob Bradley and Team USA on Sunday in Johannesburg. A swarm of bees apparently engulfed the stadium there. What was that noise I kept hearing? Sounded like a beehive got loose there.
Vuvuzela.
Bunch of horns,
Vuvuzela is what they're called.
It's annoying. It's really tough to listen. I mean, did you find that a little grating on you, Ray?
No, I found the mute button very easily.
Did you mute it the whole way?
I can watch a game without listening to nonsense.
As a play-by-play guy, I can't do that. But Ray Ratto has rejoined us, and we are going to talk a little Team USA from the weekend, and also San Jose Earthquakes with the great Joe Cannon. How are you, Joe?
Great.
Good to
Thanks
see you.
for having me.
Welcome. And you brought a soccer aficionado. Jonah Freeman is here as well from Sports Illustrated. You cover all sports, but I know you love soccer. So, well, a lot of people were just gung-ho. The Team USA played so well. They beat Spain. But I'm watching that game on Sunday, and they've got Brazil down 2-0 in the half. And I'm thinking, go ahead and finish it off. Win it. I mean, it was nice to play well and compete and get the second place, but it would have been nice to see him go ahead and win the game, wouldn't it?
Oh, would have been great. I mean, I think Landon said it best. I think the time and place for respect for U.S. soccer's over, and we just have to start winning these tournaments. And that's the only way, really, that we're ever going to get the recognition, you know, from not only, you know, soccer fans in our country, but even mainstream media.
Is Brazil that good, Jonah, where it almost seemed like they went to the halftime and came out in the second half and they were buzzing like the bee sound there, and they just said, all right, now you had your fun and we're going to take it over. We're going to score in the first minute and we're just going to take the game over. The second half, they were just awesome to watch.
I was still pouring myself another cup of coffee before they scored that goal. I didn't even know it happened. These are the 5-time world champions. They've won the World Cup 5 times. Even if you have a 4-goal lead on Brazil at halftime, I mean, there's no way you can sit back and think that you're just going to coast to victory. That said, you know, the U.S. played fantastic. They played a great game. They came out in that first half and really sort of, you know, took on all their critics and did a fantastic job. But I mean, you know, you can't close the door on Brazil unless you really, really are a soccer nation with, you know, lots of soccer support, and we're not there quite yet.
Yeah, 4 goals is a lot, though, I think.
Yeah, I think you can hold a 4-goal lead.
I agree.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but
You've never seen me play defense.
Well, if they sign you, yeah, I think the Americans may be doomed.
Yeah, right. I don't know if a 20-goal lead's safe if we sign you, but
no,
you know.
The fascinating thing was that Brazil played much better. I mean, the Americans had a much tougher time with Brazil than they did with Spain earlier in the week. And Spain is basically the Mets of international competition anyway.
Yeah.
Great reputations, never deliver the goods. It's still a big win for the U.S. And yeah, a lot of people can get excited about, you know, the Americans could have won that game, but this is Brazil, and even though it's not as good as the Brazil team of 4 years ago, they're still huge.
Well, they're number 1 now.
Yeah, and they get the first goal, and I'm watching them going, this is over.
Yeah, when they
I mean, I'm not trying to pretend I know stuff.
Yeah.
But they give up a goal like right away, and you're going, this doesn't end well.
Yeah, and I think it's similar to, you know, by the way, they delivered the goods when they won the Euro Cup last year. So I think also it's likening to, you know, when you're up on the road in football and the other team comes right out at halftime and scores that momentum-changing touchdown, and then all of a sudden it just seems like things start falling apart. But they held it together pretty long. I mean, I'm really happy and proud, but I think the thing you have to look at is it's just disappointing to be up 2-0 in a game like that, and you know the possibilities are endless. I think all of those guys, you know, probably couldn't sleep that night thinking, what if? And everyone who's a soccer fan.
You know, when Landon Donovan scored that second goal, which was a great individual effort, you really thought they had a chance. But when you look at the first half really closely, Tim Howard just played out of his mind in goal there. There were many chances where, I mean, they were somewhat fortunate they were up 2-0. In fact, right at the end of the first half, they almost scored in the final seconds, which I thought would have really swayed the momentum. But when they came out and scored early in the second half, it was pretty much the same result. But you had to be impressed with Howard and how well he played, huh?
Yeah, I've been impressed with. I mean, Timmy's a solid goalie, and I think everyone knows right now with where our sport is at. You know, you can almost liken it to Nabby in the playoffs. If the Sharks are going to get far, he's got to get hot.
Right.
I mean, our last run in the World Cup was Brad Friedel, and so you know he brought us all the way to the quarterfinals, and that was the last time the mainstream media has really jumped on. And goalkeeping's always been the strength of our U.S. squad. It still is, and I was impressed with Tim. And you know that's goalkeeping though. You can have a great first half and then a second half where there's really nothing more he can do about the goals, and that's. it's heartbreaking, but I don't know how it is in hockey, but that third goal, especially with a 2-0 lead, seems to be so important either way, and it just looked like that kind of killed us. And I think everyone who was watching the game was like, oh, there's more coming.
The game changer here for me is the fact that I think the respect level is starting to come around a bit on an international level, because I get a lot of emails from my friends in England and Brazil and Spain who are telling me that they were very impressed with the U.S., and that's a far cry from when I go to visit these people and they make fun of me for being an American soccer fan. And you got to feel a certain amount of pride when you have these people who come from soccer countries who are telling you we were very impressed with the way you played, and that's a big change for soccer in this country.
Well, the thing though about the game that most amazed me and most impressed me was how distraught Clint Dempsey was afterward. Because, yeah, for years and years, wouldn't it be great if they got respect? This is not about respect anymore. They've ridden that train actually too long.
Yeah.
It's been too long for people to come to the realization that, hey, you either show or you go. This was the first time that they've really shown on foreign soil, and that's the thing that they should build on, that they were really torqued off about losing. Not that they hung around with Brazil for as long as they did. It's that they thought on the field that they could win the match. And whether they did or not is not quite immaterial, but the fact is they thought they could stay with Brazil.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is far more important than whether they win the Confederations Cup. Okay. Because this is the first time they actually went in against a markedly superior opponent and thought, we can hang around with these guys. And that's been one of the things that's defeated this team year in and year out, is that they knew they weren't as good, and they knew they weren't as good. This time they said, well, we might not be as good, but we could stick around.
Ray, here's the tricky thing, though. They played Brazil in the group stage of that tournament a week earlier and got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, 3-0.
3-0.
Well, but that's what I mean. That's why the difference was so dramatic.
And they were outscored 3-0 in the second half on Sunday.
Yeah,
they wanted Bob Bradley strung up by his feet after they lost to Italy.
But that just shows even in any sport, how much momentum and belief and self-confidence, and especially in soccer, you see that all the times. You know, even this year, you know, with Anaheim getting lucky. I mean, it's that timing. And, you know, the crazy thing about that whole tournament, you know, was the day I was, you know, here in a pub in San Francisco when we won 3-0 against Egypt, and Brazil needed to beat Italy 3-0. And you're thinking, wow, you know, this could be like fate. It could be something more, you know, incredible. Because, I mean, if you go to Vegas and you put $10, $20, you know, I might retire from soccer because the odds of that happening were so astronomical. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things opened up well for them in that second round.
And I think the most important thing you say is they were on foreign soil. That's never happened before on a neutral site. I mean, being at home in the World Cup was one thing when we were here at Stanford, but even at home against a 10-man Brazil team, you know, we sat back and try to, you know, repel their strength. But now we're on foreign soil playing 11v11, and that's another thing that was important. We kept all our guys on the field.
Yeah. And they were more intrepid against Brazil than they were against Spain. I thought Spain, they get the quick goal, and then they basically said, okay, we're going to rope it up now. Brazil, they engaged.
Yep.
And that, to me, was important.
Let me ask you about the earthquakes. Not a good year so far.
So far? No
You got ways to go. You guys play through October, right? So you got time to rectify things.
Okay.
What's going on so far?
Yeah, no, I think you know, we've hit a little lull. We had a couple key injuries to the team right early on. I guess Darren Huckerby was out for a lot of games. I think our center back Jason Hernandez was also out for a long time, and we've made a series of trades recently and kind of brought, you know, the core of guys that we have now together. And I'm excited. I think the last 4 games, you know, we're 2-1-1. We really should be 3-1, losing a late lead to Dallas. And I think we've turned that corner as far as momentum. I think as far as we're concerned, it's our form on the road, almost like the U.S. We've got to prove that we can go on the road and get results. And there's a lot of time left in our season. And, you know, I just spent, you know, some great team building time in Vegas this last weekend with a couple of my teammates.
You spent some time in Vegas,
yeah, I mean, but I can't tell you about it because what happens there stays there. But
I've heard that.
you know, but you know, I love these core guys that we have right now. I really hope that we start getting the results because we have a good team, and I'm excited. I mean, you have to be optimistic, especially if you play, because, you know, what's the alternative?
All right, Joe, thank you for dropping by and talking a little Quakes and a little Team USA. Jonah as well. Jonah was in earlier on the show when I was not here, so nice to meet you. All right, boys, we are going to come back and examine the curious case of one Dontrell Willis from Ensign High over in Alameda to a Major League